Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Lawler here. As always, we've got RLCS Worlds predictions, and again, I don't know how this is gonna go. We get through this bracket, and it just becomes I guess. I do not feel confident about any of these. I think it is impossible to actually predict what's happening, especially when you're doing it all in one shot. But that's what we're doing here for the content. Just know, I don't believe in these results. I did some coin flips on these. I could make arguments for others, but we will see how it goes. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, turn on notifications down below. Helps me out immensely. But let's walk through and see if I can justify both my own opinion and the coin flip. We're going into play-ins. These are your bottom 4 teams that are ranked, 13 to 16, going up against teams that are 17 to 20. The 4 teams I have moving through: Gen.G, NIP, Rebellion, and Rock. I think that makes pretty good sense, considering I think the difficulty for a lot of these teams, getting into a flow with that much pressure right out of the gate is a bit challenging. I think the high seeds in a lot of these do have a little bit of an easier matchup. I'm curious to see what narratives get built out of this. There's a very good chance to get into a flow and get into a really good opportunity early. Now, as you guys probably saw in my precursor, MIBR is not technically official. We do not have a signed team for Drops, Brad, and Razebull. That is just an assumed placeholder by Cody V. Link to this down below as well if you guys would like to do your own predictions. I would like to assume that Gen.G, although they historically have not been doing well on LAN, against these teams should do a good job. I think, again, Gen.G is plenty good with their team to beat Sam 3 seed. And no offense to Rock, Rock is a good team. Very mechanical, very, very talented. But anytime they've come up against structure, anytime they've come against teams that actively play Rocket League with intent and purpose, they tend to falter. They're super talented. They're super mechanical, but they need system. They need structure. They need a play style, because right now it just looks like 3 people playing ranked going crazy. That's it. I would like to assume Gen.G can hold on and figure that out. Rebellion versus Virtus Pro. I have not been impressed by Virtus Pro lately. I think they've been getting actually worse compared to Foot, who's been competitive begrudgingly. NIP, I think, has the freest first round match. I think they're very happy about that. I would like to believe that Nas, Oski, and Radosin on LAN can do some damage. I do have some hope for Rebellion, because I do think Wavy is just getting started in his career. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. NIP has not proven to be stable in high pressure situations, but at the same time, different team. Both these rosters we've only seen in one tournament, so we'll see. I tend to believe in EU more than NA. I think that's just a logical fact as to why that is. Down in lowers, I do have Sam 3 winning a close series. Foot is not a bad team, but I'm going to choose to believe in the LAN boys and see what they can get done as they make their debut back. And then Rebellion, I do have winning a close one over them. On the other side, Virtus Pro over TSM. I could see TSM actually playing upset here, but Rock versus Virtus Pro, that to me is a coin flip. It could go either way. I'm going to choose to believe in the mechanics and the high flying, although I do believe Virtus Pro will probably win. I'm just choosing to believe in Mina. I would, if I am like, hey, gun to your head, who are you picking? I'd probably go Virtus Pro here, if I'm being honest. Group A and then Group B. Group A, K-Corp to me is the best team in the world. No surprises there. I have them making quick work of their competition. I think Rebellion got the worst pull, if that's the case. And Ultimate's GK to me is a coin flip. I think Ultimate's usually starts a little bit stronger, but GK has proven that they are a dang good team and should be feared. That to me is a game 5. Should go back and forth. I'm going to choose to believe in Ultimates, but I do think GK can definitely win that as well. Either way, I don't see either team beating K-Corp. I actually think K-Corp is happier with Ultimates than they are GK. Dignitas should beat Gen.G, and Furia should beat Wildcard. My concern is Furia has not been playing up to capabilities. They have not been the aggressor. They have not been the high-flying, high-pressure offense that we normally see, which is why I think they're going to falter against Dignitas. That being said, Furia did have a pretty tough group at EWC versus Secret, and I think you will see Furia back to form slightly. That being said, these groups are brutal. With the play-in system kind of weeding out the lesser teams, these matches are tough, dude. Like when we talk about the Swiss rounds that we saw in the previous areas where they're like 1-1, 2-1 series, that's basically happening second match of the tournament for these teams. It's brutal. Dropping down to lowers, I do have GK beating Rebellion and Furia. This could be an exciting one, but I think GK should make it through. They're a dang good team. As for Genji Wildcard, Genji has to beat Wildcard. Could be a lot of pressure on them. I don't see a world... While Wildcard, I do think is a litmus test for a lot of teams. They've always been that gatekeeper team where it's like, hey, if we're beating Wildcard and scrims convincingly, we should feel pretty good. Genji should be able to beat them. It's just with pressure and stuff, Genji has faltered, but I do have them conceding to Ultimates. Genji has not looked too good against the other top competition. I do see Ultimates kind of getting into a group there. So the 4 making it out. K-Corp Dig and High Seeds. Playing the inverse of the High Seeds in Group B. And then I've got GK and Ultimates starting from the lower bracket, which is where GK specializes. Going over to Group B, this is what I got. Falcons, to me, is the second best team in the world, and they're going to continue to do so, beating Rock, their counterpart in MENA, pretty convincingly, and then going up against Vitality. I do think Vitality is capable of winning this, but I'm going to believe in Falcons and what they have proven. Things to note... Stuff that's a little bit different for this event. Friday is also an in-person event. So they are going to have crowds, primarily of the French, going to be in attendance. How much of a factor will that play? We'll have to wait and see. If you guys want to see a more accurate prediction, I do these every single day. When I'm doing watch parties where I am predicting before the series starts, I'm going off of what I saw the day before and what I saw earlier in the day to give you a more accurate representation. These are impossible to predict without seeing these teams. We're going off of assumption and narratives that we're pushing. Like, we don't know how this stuff is going to play out. And if I think one thing is happening and the complete opposite is happening, there's a very good likelihood that I'm not going to keep predicting that team to win. If Vitality continues to show me the faltering that we saw earlier in the season, yeah, I'm probably not going to keep predicting them to win. That being said, I do think Vitality over Space Station. This is a rematch, a much requested one from EWC with all the tech pauses and issues. That's my only hope. We get a Space Station that shows that they are capable of finding their form and they keep it up, especially with another month or two under their belts. As for Vitality, same thing. Hopefully Exotic continues to play wide and be that open area man that can put shots on target, and Vitality looks like the threat that we know they can be. A lot of anticipation for this series. Energy NIP. NIP to me is a unique one because we have not seen them on LAN. Don't know what they're going to look like. I don't know if NASA is going to do what I've seen them do in the past, which is try to play hero ball. I don't know if Redosin is going to pop off at LAN like we've seen him and be such a disruptor that opens up opportunities. I do know Oski is going to be consistent. I have no concerns about Oski. If anything, I think Energy has all the pressure and all the weight on them. They are the expected team to win, which is why I have them moving forward. But I could see NRG conceding to both of these teams. I could see a fluky game where they start a little bit slow and they get beat, or they don't have the high-flying offense. I do want to believe in Sathu and the guys and being able to do what they do best and continue to be in the conversation of a top 4 team because they've historically done that. But I think there's a lot riding on this for Energy and a potential roster change if the results are not there. I think it's crazy conversations to have, but I don't think we should be having those just yet. Just something to think about. So I do see Energy potentially, and maybe Twisted plays upset, but I would like to assume Energy makes it through. That way we can see them play KC in the first round of uppers, which I think would be dope. On the other side, I do think Twisted Minds is a good team. While they underperformed a little bit at EWC, I would like to expect them to bounce back. I think Secret's a bad team, but I do see Twisted beating them in a close one and then losing ultimately to Energy. And as I mentioned, I do see Twisted being more competitive. We then have in the low side, Space Station, I do think beats Rock. As great as Rock is mechanically, I do think Space Station is the better roster. And then Twisted Space Station is a coin flip for me. I could see Space Station, just like they did in EWC, finding their form and winning this one. I could also see a much better performance out of Twisted winning. Again, a lot of coin flips here. NIP and Secret, I don't know what I'm getting out of either of these teams with everything on the line. I've seen Secret absolutely lock in and dominate teams in these moments. I would like to believe in EU in this one. Either way, you're running into Vitality. I don't think you're beating Vitality. The big reveal for the lowers and the uppers, I know this is going to come to a shock to all of you. I'm telling you right now, this bracket was impossible to predict. I don't think you can predict this without seeing any of these matches. So I flipped a coin for the really close series, and this is what it came out with. Let's talk about the narratives of if that were to happen. Yeah, Vitality winning the World Championship, Monkey Moon getting his third. At home, in front of the French crowd, solidifying himself as the true GOAT of Rocket League. No questions. It's not K-Dop. It's not Turbo Pulsa. It would be Monkey Moon if this happened. If that man goes to another grand final world championship where he starts the season a little slow and does his thing, I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the point is. I don't know why we play Rocket League anymore. We just live in Monkey Moon's world. If that happens. Now, let's talk about how that would happen or how we get there. K-Corp Energy, I would like to believe that Energy is one of the few teams that actually puts up a very good fight against K-Corp. That being said, I have not seen them beat them. So I'm going to continue to believe in K-Corp. I think K-Corp is, in my opinion, the best team in the world, especially when they're playing their game. They look unbelievable. On the other side, Falcons and Dignitas, we have seen this series before. We even saw it at a major. Falcons always one step ahead. I think there is maybe 2, maybe 3 teams that can actually handle Falcons and stay ahead or win. I think that is K-Corp. I ironically think it's NRG. And then that third team is GK. I think those are the 3 teams. I think NRG and GK match up very well against Falcons, and K-Corp's just better. That being said, Falcons is going to make you fight for everything you have. They will always have an answer. They will always be consistent. They will always be threatening. We have seen them start a little bit slow, but when they're on their game, they are very much so deserving of my number 2 seed overall. That being said, I think Dignitas has had to play catch up against Falcons, and I think we're going to see more of that. No matter how good Yoris plays, it still wasn't enough. Jack needs to have a masterclass series in order for them to beat them. I just don't see it. I think Jack is probably going to lock in and do well, but it takes a lot. Lower bracket, Vitality GK. I could see GK playing upset and ruining it for Vitality, but I'm going to believe in Vitality here. I think Vitality should be able to beat GK. It really depends on how well Archie does. If Archie does play the way that he has been lately, and shows up on defense and stuff, I could see Vitality's accuracy being a little bit timid, or, you know, things not looking as great as they normally do, and GK could take that series. Anytime I have 7, I think it could go both ways. A lot of coin flip in that, where it's like, if I was between a game, it's 3-3, and I don't know who to pick for who gets the win, flip a coin, this is how it played out. Ultimates, I do have beating Twisted. I do think Twisted could also win that, and that's going to be the sentiment against all of these series. I think any of these teams, when you make top 8 at a world championship, are capable of winning the whole thing. I think there's favorites, and I think these 2 are probably the least likely to go win the whole thing, but benefits to them, they play each other. I do think Ultimates is the better team over Twisted, but I have seen Naubo, however you say his name, I've seen him completely take over. I've seen Atomic step up, and I've seen Rise step up. So I would not be surprised if Twisted win this, but I'm going to go Ultimates. That would then give us 3 EU, 2 NA, 1 Mina in the top 6. Unfortunately for Energy, they would run into Vitality, and we know how that song and dance has gone. Energy just does not pair well against Vitality. I don't know what it is. Vitality just seems to have their number at all times, and I'm going to continue to believe in that until I see the opposite. On the other side, I do know Ultimates has the firepower and the capability to beat Dignitas, but I've also seen series where it could go like this, where like Ultimates just doesn't show up. Chronic isn't hitting his stuff. He's not being that critical role that he needs to be. First Killer's playing a bit too selfish. But I've also seen series where Ultimates has First Killer setting up things, using his mechanics to be unselfish, and they look absolutely worldly. And that's what gets them to a grand final. I'm going to choose to believe in EU because that just makes the most sense in my head. That being said, Vitality, Falcons, another coin flip. Coin flip said Vitality. I do think K-Corp is just better than Dig, so I have K-Corp making the final. And in the final, Monkey Moon in a grand final. I mean, that would be unbelievable. It would be absolutely insane to see Monkey Moon in another grand final world championship since he came into the space. I don't know who would win. Hornets versus the Blue Wall. You would have the craziest viewership, the craziest crowd. It would be the pinnacle of Rocket League. I think it would be the only thing that would be able to match, assuming it goes to like a Game 7 OT, I think it'd be the only thing to match what was the Justin goal experience. I think if that happens, Rocket League fans are eating good. Viewership's good. Rocket League's back on the menu. And then to end it all, this series ends and then they announce Rocket League on UE5. Not a bad way to end the World Championship. Maybe. Do I think this is going to play out? Hell no. I don't think any of this is going to come true. There's a very good chance that we see something stupid where like K Corp stubs their toe and they lose somewhere. I don't know. There could be very much so a chance that some of these teams don't even make top 8. I think it is that competitive. This is just a story and a narrative. This could be absolutely insane if it happens. But do I think it's going to happen? No. I expect more upsets. I expect some crazy things. The only thing that I would be kind of confident in is K Corp making a grand final. I think K Corp looks pretty dang good. K Corp Falcons is probably the most likely, but we'll see. We've seen crazier stuff happen. As for the 1v1, I assume it's going to happen Saturday. I think Moxie wins it pretty convincingly. Nalpo, however you say his name, is going to be scrimming and practicing and doing threes. Moxie's going to continue to grind ones like he always does. I think Moxie's got it. So that's my assumption. The only benefit is that Nalpo has competition that he's playing in with pressure on the line, so he at least has a little bit of that warmed up going in. And he's going to have zero pressure because it's like, bro, it's ones. I don't give a shit. I'm here for threes. If you guys want to know my proper prediction, stop by the stream. I can't give you an honest answer on who I think is going to win until I see some of these teams play. But what a story it would be if Monkey Moon takes a 3-time world championship in the open era, solidifying himself as the GOAT. Would be pretty crazy. Very heartbreaking as well for Vatira if he doesn't win and he gets that close. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Can Monkey Moon beat Drawley? That's kind of the mentality I have. Was it Drawley all along? We'll see. That's what I've got in my predictions, even though I know they're wrong. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content as always. Let me know your thoughts down below. I think the best thing you can do is give me your top 4 in the comments. Who do you have making the top 4 semifinals and where? Because then I think we can all come to an agreement and be like, hey, you're making semifinals. Anybody's got a chance to win at that point. Either way, that's going to do it for today's video. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace. Punch my monitor. Oops.